again. My name is Eternally Ethereal, also known as ValkyrieVerse Official, and welcome to the second part of a 3-part series where I introduced the characters of ValkyrieVerse. Now, the first part was long, and this part has way more characters, so I'm going to go through. Go ahead and start. First of all, the content, the YouTube will obviously be posted on this channel. Content for ValkyrieVerse, such as teasers, comics, possible animations, and other official information will be posted on this channel. The official Wattpad is at ValkyrieVerseOFF. OFF stands for official. The official ValkyrieVerse story, specifically the novel, will be posted on this account. Chapters shall consist of main story, backstories, character concept art, official art, etc. As of right now, I only have the warnings and the credits and the basic character concept sketches uploaded. That is because I'm going to be working on official, elongated backstories for the characters, and I want to get that out first before I start posting the actual official story. But I do have the prologue written. It is written. So there we go. Credits, here we go. You can take a look at these. I did not make any of the original characters, but I have altered them for this ValkyrieVerse multiverse. Warnings: ValkyrieVerse includes mature content, including but not limited to vulgar language, sexual references, blood and gore references, murder and fighting, mental health references, suicide references, alcohol, possible nudity, which images / revealing clothing on females. Watch at your own risk. And then here are the characters, the character section, which is what I'll be working on. This is what I'm showing you anyway. The following information will include character concept art, brief summaries of their backstories, and basic facts about them and their purpose in the story. So that is everything that for some reason took 10 minutes in the first part. I don't know why it took 10 minutes. I have not rewatched that video entirely. I've skimmed through it. Maybe. I'm not even gonna lie, I have not watched it. We don't talk about that, but seeing as this is part 2, in this part we are going to be looking into the Celestial Kingdom. Now, a bit of background information. Celestia is the, country where ValkyrieVerse is held. Midnight, the big bad one in Arc 1, is the queen of Celestia. So if you hear Celestial Kingdom, it's the country. And to clear things up, the Valkyries are located on somewhere in the city on the edge. I need to make an actual map. It's the country is kind of divided almost in half. Half of them are on the Valkyrie side, half on the side of the Celestial Kingdom. So yeah. Here we go. This is Midnight. Her god name is Argentum. This is Passive Nightmare. I'm going to give you a few seconds to look at that. There you go. This is her alternative outfit. This is just what she would wear if she were going to battle. If she were to fight. And there's her weapon. Here is Solar. And her god name is Arum. And a little quick detail is their god names, Arum and Argentum, are actually just the Latin words for gold and silver. Now here is the backstory. It gets really confusing. I confuse myself sometimes. Midnight, goddess named Argentum, was created alongside her sister to rule the ancient kingdom of Celestia. Her and her sister, Solar, ruled together, however the citizens were only accepting of one of them. The citizens of Celestia enjoyed the sunlight since they could perform all of their activities. They didn't enjoy the moonlight, though, as it was hard to see and many young children were afraid of the dark. Due to the bias, Midnight was not treated with as much kindness as her sister was. The citizens were very clear about their feelings towards Midnight. They called her names, went to Solar for all of their problems, and the royal guards refused to help her, and by her, they mean Midnight. Midnight was a kind girl, so she didn't want to worry her sister. She took all the hate and dealt with it herself. On the day of the annular eclipse... Listen, I tried to say annual, but Grammarly said fuck you. Essentially, the eclipse, it's every year there's a solar eclipse. It does not line up with science whatsoever. But Midnight and Solar are essentially... But Midnight and Solar are essentially the Princess Celestia and Princess Luna of ValkyrieVerse, so it makes sense, okay? It makes sense. It will make sense if you just believe, okay? Midnight lost control of her emotions and attacked the people she swore to protect. After the event, she spent a decade locked in her bedroom. When she came back out, she fought with her sister, trying to lock her away into the Nightmare Realm for good. And the Nightmare Realm is just a pocket dimension, which is essentially just a dark and gloomy, depressed version of the world, like their castle, their house, their home. While fighting, the sisters spilled their feelings about what had been happening in the kingdom. They cried together, afraid that someone's time was up. Midnight stayed vindictive until the end, convinced that she deserved love and affection like Solar. At the last second, holding her sister above an open portal, Midnight had a change of heart. She realized that her failure to communicate wasn't her sister's fault, so she sacrificed herself. And this is a quote from Midnight. "Please correct my mistakes." Midnight fell into the portal, and out of despair, Solar took her identity to fulfill her dying wish. Any existence of Solar was erased from books and the public eye. In order to keep her real identity hidden, Solar had to cover her eyes. This is because Solar has yellow eyes and Midnight has purple eyes. They may be identical twins, but that is like their only difference. Obviously, they're magic. And I will say, the concept art didn't show this because I had like changed it after I did it, and I haven't redone it yet. I should have probably redone it. But Midnight's hairstyle, the half up, half down, it's like a really short one. Her hair is straight. Solar's hairstyle is the exact same. Like, it's not up in a ponytail. It's the exact same, except it's like curly/wavy. Like, she is giving Moana. Okay. She lost herself during the 2,000 years she played her role. Every day she became more insane. Here is the timeline. The goddesses were created 500 years after the world was created, after the creation of Earth. Keep in mind, the world was created by Genesis, okay? The day of Midnight's disappearance was the day of the annular eclipse, okay? The day became known as the eclipse. However, Midnight's attack occurred 200 years after their creation, okay? So, Midnight technically disappeared from public eye on the day of the eclipse. That's the day that she lashed out and tried to kill people. And then she locked herself up. Okay? The day of the eclipse was 200 years. So there was like a 200 age gap where Midnight was just like tormented. Midnight's disappearance was 10 years after the eclipse day. And then after Midnight's disappearance, 2,000 years pass. Those are the 2,000 years where Solar is pretending to be Midnight. There we go. Once again, extremely confusing. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Facts about Midnight. Before the mistreatment, she was extremely kind. Even during her final moment, she never wanted to hurt her sister. Midnight was the kind of girl immersed in music and literature. She was the best violin player in the kingdom. Other instruments that she was good at include the piano, the flute, and the oboe. She composed her own music in her free time. She would usually be found near or on the massive tree, basically the ValkyrieVerse version of the Tree of Feelings, when she wasn't in her bedroom. She was only given respect when around her sister. People like royal guards and castle servants would tease her and purposely cause accidents, that usually ended up in Midnight getting hurt or dirty. Nearing the end of her time, Midnight hid in her bedroom to get away from the hatred. The mistreatment made her more sad than angry. Like, it just made her depressed. She didn't understand why she was hated. Solar! I love Solar. She was loved and cherished by all. She knew something was wrong between Midnight and the citizens/castle workers, but every time she asked, she was brushed off. Unlike her sister, Solar was into traditional art and dancing. She was almost always by Midnight's side, especially after she got the feeling something was wrong. After Midnight disappeared, she took her identity and sacrificed her own. The first few days of being her sister, Solar was depressed because of the loss, and because she found out about the mistreatment. Solar went on a rampage against the X-family line, a line of royal guards, because they were the main people who tormented Midnight. Solar slowly lost her mind due to the betrayal and the loneliness. Painted pictures of Midnight frequently after her disappearance, up until present time, so she is still painting pictures of her sister. Like, hella good pictures. And it was all so that she wouldn't forget her true face. She learned how to play the violin and finished composing Midnight's last piece after she disappeared, which I think is really sweet. I added that little detail in because it was like, oh, there's big shit going on, but I need small details to make people cry, you know? So yeah, I hope you cry when you heard that. The next person is Assassin, which is the ValkyrieVerse version of Killer. I also really love Assassin. I just love Assassin and technically Solar's connection / relationship development. Look. Gay is all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna say gay. And then here's the Assassin's Curse, and that will get like more into it in the facts area. Ever since she was young, Assassin, the only name that she goes by. Listen, she has a real name, but she only goes by Assassin. She like deleted that shit. Was teased for being weirdly obsessed with blood, okay? Hemakotoga. Teachers and her parents hoped it was some weird kid phase that she would grow out of, but it wasn't. The teasing wasn't that what made her crazy either. She was just like born insane. First, she wished death upon bad people. Slowly, it evolved into wishing annoyances would just be like struck down by Zeus. Eventually, Assassin ran away from home with a kitchen knife and hid out. Just like ran away, like hid under bridges, like subway stations. I don't know. Beginning her life's mission. No one looked for her because they thought she was fucking crazy. Within 2 weeks, one of her high school's biggest bullies was found dead behind the bleachers in the practice field. Another week, her parents were brutally murdered. Their mutilated bodies hung like Christmas lights on the house. It was at this moment that the Royal Guard got involved, but they could never find her. Right, this bitch was on the run. She was on the run. And look, she was good at it too. No one fucking found her. Every time Assassin killed someone, she felt stronger, as though being a murderer was her true calling. Her sanity kept slipping the more she plunged her knife into unsuspecting victims. Everything was fine until she was caught red-handed by the Queen herself. Midnight just so happened to be passing by an alley that Assassin was in. She was in a carriage for a formal event, right? She was being taken down the fucking road. And they made eye contact. From that moment, Assassin spent every waking moment of her day researching the Queen. Right? She researched the Royal Guard schedules to know when she was unsupervised. She was borderline obsessed with the Queen, and it was because she knew that, quote-unquote, Midnight knew something. Assassin found ways to sneak into the palace without being caught. She left notes in places only the Queen would look. It took a few years, but Midnight finally personally tracked down the bitch and invited her to be her personal royal guard. That's what I mean when I say gay, okay? That's what I mean when I say gay. It's just gay. If you ever start wondering, like, if these characters were, like, based on just, like, songs, they are. 100% guarantee you, I was listening to The Diner by Billie Eilish, and I was like, fuck. That's so Assassin Core, and that's how she got her backstory. Okay. So basically anything Hemakotoga related is just Assassin. There we go. Same vibes, same everything, except she just doesn't eat the blood. She doesn't eat it. I promise. Facts. She is cursed. She has what is called the Assassin's Curse. She named it herself. There's not actually a name for it. She just named it herself. The curse was triggered when Assassin made her 100th kill. The curse gave her magic powers, but at a cost. When activated, liquid hate pours out of her eyes, her nose, and it sometimes tries to come up her throat. Which, a little inside note that I didn't write down, her powers are like a harm to her body. This liquid hate, she can dead-ass choke on it and, like, essentially drown. So she can't use it that much. Red streaks form in her hair to represent all of the people that she murdered. Like, it is supposed to be the blood of her enemies. Deadass, that's what it is. She can use the magic as a weapon. The strength of it depends on the brutality of her last kill. But with that strength, the liquid hate increases. Like, its damage to her body increases. She has an obsession with Midnight that is borderline psychotic. She is Midnight's personal guard, rarely away from her side, does basic tasks for her, and listen, this canon gay. She helps her get dressed, she runs her bathwater, and she essentially does literally anything that a personal assistant would do, okay? Not only is she a personal guard, but she's like half a guard, half a servant. You get it? She picks out this bitch's clothes for the day, okay? And that leads to the next bullet, actually. She's a co-general with Cross for the Celestial Guard offensive team. Okay? She's a co-general because she is hella strong with her magic and shit. And she deserves to be a general. But she's also Midnight's, like, personal guard. So, yeah. There kind of needs to be someone else on that role. She is close with both Horror and Powder. And you have no idea who the fuck that is right now. That's supposed to be Dust. And listen, I was thinking of the name Powder before I, like, started getting the edits of Arcane. Please don't come after me for that. Okay? Please don't come after me for that. Listen. I haven't watched Arcane. I might because of the scene, if you know what I mean. But I haven't watched Arcane. I don't know why that little girl was named Powder, okay? But I can assure you that the reason Dust is called Powder is because she's smoking it. That's all I'll say. She's close with Horror and Powder, but she only sees them late at night and if they are in meetings during the day. Listen, Assassin is silly and goofy. She is a silly, goofy girl. She's very flirtatious, but tries to watch her mouth around Midnight. Listen, she occasionally flirts with Midnight. Because Midnight is hot and who the fuck wouldn't? Okay? Whenever Midnight, aka Solar. Because remember, when I'm talking about Midnight present day, I'm talking about Solar. Because Solar is pretending to be Midnight. You have to remember that. Whenever Midnight Solar is stressed, she gives her normal clothes and helps her sneak out of the palace. The same way that she used to sneak in, by the way. All of her little tricks, memorizing the guards' schedules, she helps Midnight get the fuck out of there. The same way. Right, she gives her normal clothes and helps her sneak out just to experience life like an average person, okay? And that usually calms her down. Like, she takes that bitch to get a Happy Meal. It's like, I know this probably tastes like shit to you, but I mean, this is what I would eat for dinner when I was 5. Right? It's either that or they get drunk in her bed. Because they are besties. And here is Powder / Dust, okay? Here we go. We love this. Look at them hips, bro. Look at them hips. Look at that waist. God damn, I can draw women. God damn. Backstory. Powder wasn't a bad person, she was just involved with the wrong people. Her high school friends were addicted to drugs and alcohol, which got her in trouble later in life. She was always interested in knowledge, though, so she ended up becoming a scientist. Her job was secret, and in order to keep the people she loved safe, she had to keep that shit secret. She studied ancient magic, which sadly meant testing it on living beings. Sorry, rabbits. Her sister meant a lot to her, more than anything in the world, actually. Late one evening, Powder was called to meet an old friend in an alley to catch up. Bad news. The invitation was a trap, and the person tried to attack her. However, Powder's sister got in between the fight and got fucking shot. The other person ran, and Powder brought her sister to her lab in her basement to try and fix her. Because if she took her to the hospital, they would have tried to get her arrested for dealing drugs or some shit, She refused to use the magic tester that she had because she didn't know what it would do to her sister. She wasn't going to use her sister as a test subject. After her sister, like, died because she refused to use the magic on her, she, like, locked her into, like, a little tube. If you've ever seen the Handplates comics, and you know how they were created, they had, like, those tubes. Or if you've just, like, seen any sci-fi animation ever, yeah, those tubes, right? She kept her in there so that she could keep her body from decomposing so that she could find another solution. Okay? Powder used the magic tester on herself, which successfully gave her powers. She independently studied medicine and became a doctor. And she was scouted out by Assassin, sent by Midnight, and was invited to join the Celestial Army, originally as a backup fighter and as a doctor. Okay? One thing I will say is there's, like, this whole side story that I'll probably make a comic of with Powder and the fucking Grim Reaper coming to take her sister's soul away because she's dead. She's been dead forever. And that was, like, in between giving herself the magic and getting scouted. So that was, like, between all that, right? It's like she gave herself the magic and she thought she was fucking hallucinating. Like, she was seeing her sister and shit in places she shouldn't have been. So she's been seeing, like, hallucinations of her sister, kind of like Original Dust. Like, she thought it was, like, a side effect from, like, the magic that she gave herself. And then she saw the fucking Grim Reaper and her little angel sidekick, you know. Because Jenno's here, too. We love Jenno. So pretty. And, yeah, so there's that. And then after Powder was, like, scouted out, she joined, essentially, the Guard, like, the army. She was a backup fighter, but then they found, like, Midnight found out she had magic, and she was, like, low-key helped her train. She low-key helped fucking Powder, like, learn how to use her magic and shit. And then she became, like, a good fighter, and so she put her on, like, the ranged, like, regimen. I don't know the word, and I don't want to look it up, so I just call them teams. Facts. She's cold and distant, and she's afraid of getting involved with the wrong people again. She drinks and uses her drugs heavily, okay? She's about that life. Her bedroom is literally a Hollywood bar. Listen, if you want it, she has it, okay? If you want it, she has it. She's got a fucking bar in her bedroom. It's at the bottom of her fucking closet. She killed the person that killed her sister. That's a given. She saved horror, and her magic is the only reason that she's still alive. And you'll get that on the next person's slide. She's a decent person when she gets close enough to someone, okay? She's not that bad, okay? She's not that bad. The only real friends that she has are Assassin and Horror. She's friends with Cross, but they aren't really close. Because Cross is an emo bitch. We love them all, though. We love them all. She stays locked in her bedroom 24/7. She's a boat girl. She is a boat girl. Haunting Adeline? Perchance? The King series? Perchance? Akatar? Perchance? But yeah, she just really reads fucking fantasy. And smut, but we don't talk about that. Me too, girly, me too. She keeps her face hidden at all times. She really only shows herself to, like, Assassin and Horror and occasionally Cross and obviously Midnight. Obviously Midnight, aka Solar. She is insanely good aim. And eyesight. But she just assumes it's, like, a side effect from, like, the magic. She occasionally gives herself more, like, liquid magic injections in an attempt to, like, continue her research. Like, she's in the point of her life. She doesn't care if she dies. Like, she's not gonna try to off herself. But, I mean, she needs a test subject, and she's not gonna do it to anyone else, so why not do it to yourself? Okay, Dr. House. This does often end up in near-death experiences. Seizing on the ground. Foaming at the mouth. It's okay, she's fine. The next one is the Beast, aka Horror. Horror is what she goes by. However, on the battlefield, she's known as the Beast. You know what else is a beast? My dick. I'm so sorry. Horror, also known as the Beast on the battlefield, suffered a tragic injury when she was fresh out of high school. She found herself in the middle of a protest-turned-riot against the royal palace. During the event, Horror was struck with one of the guard's swords, went through her head and through her eye. Okay? Just like Undyne's spear. The event was never supposed to turn violent in the first place. It was one of those things where, I don't know, I guess the guard had like a shitty day. Didn't get to beat his wife the night before, so he took it out on some random like 18-year-old girl. But it wasn't supposed to be violent. So Midnight sent Powder, an onlooker at the time, to go save her. She was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. Go save that little girl. Due to the location of the sword, Horror was affected in multiple ways. Occasionally, she has trouble recognizing things and people. She almost completely lost the ability to feel pain, making her a fucking tank. She has trouble speaking at times. And then there are other minor effects, but those are just like the really big ones. Horror died before Powder was able to bring her back, quote unquote, with the use of her magic and medicine. So essentially, Powder, right, Dust, had this magic, same magic, that she refused to use on her sister. But she was like, you know what? I've seen the fucking Grim Reaper. Let me just try. So she used her magic and essentially brought Horror back from like the dead or something. Kind of. You know how people die on the table and they come back like 10 minutes later? That kind of thing, except she was dead for more than 10 minutes. And Powder was only able to do it because she literally worked at it for like half an hour. Okay. Half an hour. She didn't want to fail another person, you know? So she just took her little fingers and went there. Psst! She's alive! After she healed, she had nowhere to go because of her age, and so Midnight gave her a permanent spot on the Celestial Guard. We love Midnight. We love Midnight. Facts. Horror has eternally bleeding open wounds where she was attacked during the riot. There's one thing that Powder was not able to fix. It was the wounds. And that is why she was, like, bandaged. You know. During battle, she wears a monster mask to both hide her face and defend her open wounds. When she joined the Royal Guard, she was given the name Horror as an insult, but the name kind of just, like, grew on everyone as she trained and got stronger. Usually, everyone that meets Horror is, like, fucking scared shitless of her. Because she's massive. Bitch is, like, 6'2". Okay? And there's, like, a gaping hole in her head. That's fucking terrifying. If I saw that at, like, 12 in the morning, I think I'd shit my pants. Due to her size and her base strength, Horror quickly rose to the ranks of the guards and was the official general of the defense team within 3 months. 3 months, guys. I don't know what Demon Slayer shit I was on when I wrote that, but hey. 3 months. A lot can happen in 3 months. For the first few weeks after waking up, Horror had to depend on Powder, which caused them to get closer over time. I'm not gonna say the word, but you know what I'm thinking of. It's on my wall. That's all I'm gonna say. It's on my wall. Due to the fact her life force is based on ancient magic, Horror became immortal, okay? So she's connected to the magic, not necessarily Powder. However, the connection between the magic and Powder means that Powder can technically use that connection and, you know, exploit it and, like, control Horror as, like, a puppet. However, she, like, refuses to. I don't even think she knows that she can do that. You know, I just pulled that one out of my ass, you know? That one wasn't really planned. It might be in a battle scene. Who knows? If it is, you know, fuck. It happened. Alright. And then the last one for today is General X, aka Cross. And boy, do I have a backstory for you. She's really pretty, though. I will say that. She's really pretty. Reminds me of my ex-girlfriend. Cross was the youngest daughter of the current generation of the X family. In ancient history, the family worshipped the goddess of the sun, Solar, and fought by her side in the Celestial Guard. This is the X family, like the family of like the royal guards. Most of the guards were like part of this family that Solar just kind of like struck down. After the real Midnight's disappearance, Solar struck down the family. I didn't even read that sentence. I just casually used the same words. Right. This family, the main citizens doing the harassment for her sister, right? And she did this for revenge. 2,000 years later, Midnight, quote unquote, personally scouted out Cross, the rebel daughter of the noble X family, to get her to join the Celestial Guard as her ancestors once did. Okay, Midnight originally did it to replace Red when she left, because like, remember, part 1, Red was originally a Celestial Guard before she was like, you know what, fuck this shit, and left and swapped sides. But it rekindled her hatred for the family instead, and so she kept Cross around, literally just to torment her. She's just a bitch like that, you know? As a worshipper of the goddess of the sun, Cross hated Midnight. Hated her with a passion. Wait until the end of Arc 1, bro. She didn't want to join the guard, but she wanted to get away from her family. She joined reluctantly, only to be mentally and emotionally tormented by the Queen for seemingly no reason at all. Cross got tired of the abuse and started researching evidence that Solar existed and was in the world somewhere. God, I hate myself, okay. She eventually secretly teamed up with the Protector to do so. I misspelled the word world. Facts. Cross's eyes are purple with a white X through her pupils, okay? And those are the hereditary eyes of the X family. If you see those eyes, it's the Mafia. You better run. Cross's family is crazy rich. Crazy rich? Filthy rich? And one of the most notorious for dealings on the dark web and their dabbling in the crime world, okay? However, the family hasn't been arrested yet because it's actually fucking massive. The family is fucking massive. And they have government power in the region of Celestia that they are, like, located in. Despite their dealings. Once again, they are essentially the Mafia, okay? She's only friends, quote unquote, with Assassin, and that's only because they both like to joke around whenever they have downtime. You know, they're both, like, really silly and goofy. She's usually serious when it comes to work, and Assassin is the only one who has seen her be, like, not serious. At all. But, you know, Assassin sees everything. She's a complete loner most of the time. Solar's torment has led Cross to have depression and anxiety, and on top of the mental problems that she already had, okay? That's the only not cool thing that I think Midnight Solar has done. Sad, but, you know, oh well. Cross is the strongest of the generals in terms of formal combat, and that was only because she was trained in various ways since childhood. And we're done. I have no idea how long that took. I'm like, just silently yelling at myself. Not so silently. Not so silently. Okay. Anyways, I'm not even gonna elaborate on that. Anyways, this is the end of the second part of this 3-part series where I introduce the characters of ValkyrieVerse. Once I get this third part out, which will hopefully be soon because I've remembered that this thing exists, I will probably create the little gacha characters that go with them. And then make cute little skits. Probably. No, deadass, I'm gonna make a reaction video. Not of ValkyrieVerse. That'd be a little narcissistic, if you know what I mean. Unless you want one. If you want one, I'll deadass make one. I mean, the only information I have is the trailer and the character intros. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will hopefully get the third part of this series out really, really soon. Okay, my name is Eternally Ethereal, but you can also call my channel ValkyrieVerse Official. I don't care. I also go by Seer. However, that is an old channel, like an alt at this point. So if you hear anyone call me Seer-chan, still me. Still me. Bruh, I just recorded this, I just got done editing. I dragged that outro out so long, so I'm just gonna shorten it real quick. Okay, essentially, this is the end. This is part 2. I will hopefully get part 3 of this 3-part series out really soon. I'm excited for it because of women. My name is Eternally Ethereal. You can refer to my channel as ValkyrieVerse Official. My laptop is taking flight. Bye!